was at Bradford City and during the summer. I did their Player of the Year dinner. It was a rollover. But I know it just depends. It depends where I am. And the object, I get paid to make sure the end of the night goes well and they have a laugh. That's what I'm there to do. So as long as I do that, then I'm happy. Well, I was at Doncaster and I'd been injured quite a bit. And to be totally honest with you, I wasn't really enjoying it. If you've been at a club like Leeds and then you go down to the bottom tier, and I wasn't really enjoying it, to be honest with you. And at the end of that season, I'd already put something in place. I'd already started working in insurance, and I more or less went straight into it. So I was pretty well ready for it, really. I never really fancied staying in the game. I'd seen my father, he'd been in the game, and it nearly killed him with regards to the stress of management and all the rest of it. And it never really appealed to me to go into football, really. I met a couple of guys when I was playing. David Rennie did it at Leeds United for a while. I had a young family. I thought the first season I was injured for most of it, and I thought if I have another season like that, I could be in trouble. So I've got to try and do something to earn a few quid, really, to look after them. So I did that. I can't say I enjoyed it, but on a football note, I didn't play for 2 years, and then I went to play just for a bit of fun non-league with a team called Gainsborough, and I really enjoyed that because there was no pressure. Plus also, when I was at Leeds, I was the only player who used to get booed in the programme. So I wasn't all that popular, but for me it was just a dream to play for Leeds because I was brought up as a Leeds fan. I went on the internet a while ago and there was a blog, it had the 50 worst Leeds players, and I thought, I wonder if I'm in that, and there I was, number 22. So I emailed him saying I was disgusted. I thought I should be in the top 5 at least. But I look back on the videos and it's a bit embarrassing, really. But I was the first Leeds United, I'm in the history books, I was the first Leeds United substitute ever to be substituted. So I've made a name for myself. My uncle Johnny Giles, and my father never achieved that, so at least I've got that in my back pocket. My dad was on the after dinner circuit. I started doing a bit of MCing, then I did a bit of speaking, but I wasn't a big enough name because I was a crap player. So I'd heard a lot of the comedians at the end of the night. I could do a few silly voices and stuff, and I thought I'll have a go at that, so that's how I make my living now. I've no ambitions about being, you know, like a comedian on television. I just want to earn my living and that's it. And as long as I keep getting some bookings, then I must be doing all right. But I enjoy it. Luckily, I like meeting people and having a bit of a chat. Some of my mates don't. They'll go and sit there for the evening on their phones, other comics, but I enjoy it. I suppose I'm nosy, really, but it's good fun. You turn up, get paid and go home. I was at Leeds and Eddie Gray had given me a contract, and Eddie had a great young team that were going to go places, and I might never have got in it, to be honest with you. John Sheridan, Scott Sellers, Andy Linnigan, me and Baird, Dennis Irwin, some cracking players, and Billy came in, and immediately Billy tried to get me out because he didn't fancy me as a player, and he tested me, not all the rest of it, and I showed that I wasn't going to give in, and he saw I was hard working, so he gave me a contract. So he gave me a contract and he let Dennis Irwin go. Well, I can't describe it vividly enough, really. When I was a kid, my dad left Man United. They didn't look after him in the family's view. And my Uncle John was in this pomp at Leeds with the great Leeds team, which in my opinion is the greatest club side I've ever seen. Eddie Gray, Peter Lorimer, Billy Bremner, Johnny Giles, all of those great players. So for me, just coming to Leeds, I had like a romantic idea of it. I just dreamed about putting the shirt on. So to make my debut in the first team was great. I remember that. I didn't play particularly well, as usual. I scored on my home league debut, and that was fantastic. And the lads take the mickey out of me because it's the only goal I ever mentioned, but I scored in the quarter-final of the FA Cup once, and all the Leeds fans had to go into the City Hall and to watch it because they wouldn't let them travel, and those moments were fantastic, but there's not many of them. But yeah, like I say, for a while it was great, you know, if you're injury free and all that, you've got half a chance. The 6th of May 1972 was my 8th birthday, and that'll ring a bell for a lot of Leeds fans, because Alan Clark scored the winner at Wembley, and my Uncle John came over and took us across, holding our hands, and they had the little tabs in them days, and he gave us the tab and he took us down the tunnel. It was when Mick Jones had done his elbow and all that, and I'll never forget it, really. I suppose that's my greatest day in football.
See those nets? It's what's known in the business as an onion bag. It's not really a bag, and it isn't even made of onions, but it's where strikers like Bobby Davison hung out and collected their win bonuses.
Now, I know a couple of lads I played with at Derby County, you know, taxi drivers now, builders, boys at Sheffield United, you know, become gardeners, stuff like that. So I think now there's more people out there who will help players to move on. I think the players now are more savvy on what they want to do after finishing playing, more business interests. But I don't think it prepared me that well, but I don't think I was looking to be prepared. I think I had foolishly that I can play till I'm 50. I think it was one of them, you know, you don't want to look at the end. I think that was my mentality. Don't want to see when I've got to finish. I want to just keep playing. I still now. I mean, I can play, but I train every day and I run. You know, so it's inbuilt. But back then, I should have realised that. Listen, you know, go and do something else. Left school at 16, went straight into in the northeast. You either went down the mines, in the shipyards, or become a builder or electrician. You know, one of the main trades, or plumber. And I went into the naval yard, which was in Wallsend on the Tyne, which built all the warships, the York Royal. I worked on that. The Illustrious, I worked on that, and I became a apprentice welder, which was interesting. So don't think I'd ever been on a boat. I didn't realise that the decks, there's like 8-9 decks on these warships, and the metal is about that thin. It's absolutely incredible, and there's no room. So I did that and kept on playing football, and when I was 18, 2 years into my apprenticeship, a scout would see me playing and asked me to go down to Watford. A couple of boys I played in the same team with went down to Bristol City, but I was 2 years into apprenticeship, and it wasn't a big thing then. You know, you didn't know that you're going to play football for 10, 15 years and go into coaching. So it was a case of, I've got to finish this apprenticeship. So I carried on for 2 more years, finished my apprenticeship, and I was fortunate enough to sign for Huddersfield Town.
You have a successful career in football. You played for some, you know, including Leeds United. You hang up your boots, you go back into welding.
Well, no, because I think them 4 years going down 8-9 decks and crawling through tiny little holes with all the equipment, and you don't realise when you're working on these warships, you know, it's not normal welding. It's you know, you've got these it's a special weld that you have to do, and the fumes of it is absolutely incredible. So you've got to take an extractor fan down there with you, and I know now that obviously all the smoke and the fumes don't go up that extractor fan. It goes inside you. So I'd never ever go back there and do that. I think my last game was probably over at Hull City professionally when I was at 30, coming up to 39, 40. Then I went part-time to Halifax and played at Guiseley. I just had some business interests. I was one of these players that didn't really get an agent until the last few years of my career. I just got, my wife opened a shop in Ilkley with a partner. I was involved in that. Then I was just sort of fitted about that I want to go into coaching. like a lot of players now, they're going to have investments. A couple of investments that didn't go quite the way we wanted them to go. So then got myself into coaching. Started working for the FA just part-time, so we go out. So it's like we look from seniors. I watched Scotland against Georgia a few weeks ago. Then I went to Poland to watch Scotland play the first team, do match reports, player reports. Then at the moment we're down looking at 16s, 17s for the England setup. So we're about all over at the academies, watching all the games. So that keeps me busy. My favourite games are always, when I played against the teams from the North East, Newcastle, Sunderland, Middlesbrough. I used to love going up there and playing against them and scoring against them, because all my families, my wife's family, all either Sunderland, Newcastle or Middlesbrough supporters, so it was always nice to go back there. They're the games I used to really enjoy.